Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect. Today we're jumping back into some more Create Astral. And today, well, we're going to be working on the machine that is going to allow us to craft rockets. Hopefully you guys are ready. Now, jumping into today's video, we're going to go over some of the things that I did on stream. I have streamed a little bit of this over on Twitch. I did a little bit of a world preparation for the world download, and in doing that I cleaned some things up. As you can see, we got this whole area over here cleaned up and I got it moved. Let's talk about that for a second. I did manage to route this over our electrolyzer that is providing our oxygen to our loader, and so I have a little space right here for our oxygen loader. Over on the other side, I did some more stuff as well. I prepped up all of the land, and so we did place a ton of dirt and got all of this leveled out, all on the sides minus this area over here. For some reason I missed that, but all the sides have been leveled out somewhat and are nice and cleaned up for the future preparations. I also added all the pillars to get those up and running, which are going to be the structure columns for the build that is slowly but surely, you know, coming into play. It's slowly getting there, but will be soon. Now, one of the big changes was utilizing this corner for our brass production. And all I have to do is place in the zinc and place in the copper, and we're good to go. Like, this will process so long as there is coal inside of the blocks down here, which I still need to set up the containers and put charcoal right here inside of the crude storage. I might as well actually get a place to set that. But yeah, crude storage will then put the charcoal into this. This will get started anytime we need it. For right now, we are using that instead of a lava production. But yeah, let me explain how this functions if you want to replicate this. So I have my single fluid tank, and then we have these on the back, and on the back of those is a tank that is connected. Now, back here, it may look a little bit messy, but the tanks are then pulling out of this, or they're pulling out of the seared melter, and they're pushing in to this, the container here. So it's going into the basin, and then the basin then mixes up, and then we have our filter set here for brass only. That then pulls the brass and puts it into the fluid tank. Pretty straightforward and simple, and I just connected directly in. Now, to keep this always powered, because this one does need the blaze burner always running, I just recreated the same setup that we're using over here to power our engines. And by doing that over here, I don't know what's going on here. That water is way higher than it needs to be, but oh well. Over here, it'll just pull off of this arm will, and then anytime this needs it, it will then place it down. So very, very simple. Of course, we have our buckets filtered, and we have our crude storage down here. A little compact and hard to see, but that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Getting this nice and compact and in this corner was a priority to me. And I think this looks really good. And I can cast into the basin. We have a hopper here, so I can put my copper casings in here and make brass casings, which will end up going into this chest. And then over here, we have all of our brass. So pretty sick all in all. So first thing I wanted to do today was get the same setup that I had over here. As you can see right there, the one I just showed, set up in this corner as well, except the one that's in this corner is actually making bronze. So this allows us to make cogs and everything else way easier than we've been doing. It's all been very manual, but this will allow me to actually cast out things that I need. If I need gears, I can go ahead and make them, like our cogs, I mean. So for example, cogs right here, we can actually cast out using a coin gold cast. I don't have the cast yet, but we're going to be working on that. And then if I need the large ones, it's pretty simple as well. All I need is to make a gear gold cast. So let's go ahead and make those casts. So to make this cast, I should be able to just put the large cogs in, right? Or do I need something different? Can we not use these to cast out? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So coin cast. Do I have to make some sort of coins? Okay, so we need gold sheets in order to make these, and it looks like it's just done in a stone cutting. Oh wow, that is a whole lot different than I was actually expecting. So just gold sheets in a stone cutter, and there we go. We get actually both of the things we need. Oh, that's a little more convenient than I was initially anticipating. Yeah, I should probably get 2 casting tables and maybe set one up for specifically like the small, so we don't have to swap back and forth. We can just pull both levers and it'll just always cast. Now to power this, I am using the seared casts. I'm just casting it right out onto the table and using redstone to automate that. So let's grab some seared faucets. And I do have another table, so I guess I can go ahead and set that up. Hopper, and then barrels. And that's pretty much it for getting it automated. It's actually quite simple to automate. So now with the hopper placed in underneath, all we have to do is provide it tin and copper, and this gets started. And the same setup is the same in the back. We have a blaze burner underneath. I believe it's more profitable for us to use the blaze burner in the back like that. And then if I flip both of these on, as you can see, we're going to get copper cogs. We're going to be making the large cogs and the small cogs now. That is so much more convenient. Oh my gosh, than the prior. Oh man. Now, while I was live streaming, I did find something out in this pack. And that is that, well, auto crafting with Applied Energistics is actually disabled. Even though it may seem like inside here that crafting is a thing because you do have the crafting unit asked to be crafted. However, you cannot actually make the patterns. So like the pattern terminal and the patterns themselves are not craftable actually. So yeah, we actually, as of right now, as far as I know, we cannot do auto crafting with Applied Energistics. Now that changes a little bit of what I was planning, right? Because I was planning to hook all of these into Applied Energistics down the line and use them for auto crafting. Well, I guess things are going to have to sort of wait, and we're going to be using this more or less as just our means of storage, which is fine. But I just wanted to mention that. So now the next thing on the docket list is actually this brass mesh. What I want to do is add 3 more things to this list. Now, right now we have a little bit of ender pearls, but I'm going to need a little bit more than what this is providing. So as you can see right here, I have these nice and set up, but what I got to do is get over here. It's not super easy to do, and I need to swap this out for a brass mesh. Now this brass mesh should give me a couple of different things. So if we take a look at the basalt right here, the brass mesh being used on it will give me magma cream, gas tiers, and blaze powder. I at least want to get a few of those up and running. Now that I have those ender pearls going, things should be quite nice, honestly. So I have ender pearls, I can jump around and all kinds of stuff, even though it sounds like a gun shooting, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, this all in all, this should get us a few more of those fancy resources. Now today we're actually going to be progressing through the quest line yet again. We got a lot of our automation up and running, and so this allows us to sort of jump into what I'm going to call the next segment, or the rocket segment, as we're going to be jumping into a ton of new machines. With new machines mean power, and we actually need to route our power around. Currently the only power I have is this. I keep getting random quests. I think this is the cogwheel I just accepted, by the way, the quest line under here. I accepted this and it gave me some cog. That is so weird. Anyways, over here, this is my current power setup, right? And I'm using it to just power our Applied Energistics system. However, I need to get power from over here, and we actually need to spread it around and actually use the alternator for our machines. So that's going to pose a little bit of a thing to get started, but it's going to be fine, because the real thing we're going to need is these copper connectors. So we're going to need a few of these, and we're going to need some more copper wires. And so what we're supposed to be able to do is place these down and then connect the wires together, similar to the industrial foregoing. Sorry, not industrial foregoing, immersive engineering. It's been a little bit. So immersive engineering, as you can see, we can connect them, but it does look like this will actually expand, and we only have to worry about one of these, right? Instead of a connector to something that bridges, this just connects everywhere. And so we should be able to spread our power out and use this to hook to the back of our machines. Now, some of the machines that we're going to need to craft is like the grinder, the extractor, and the wire mill. That's what's all recommended in the quest line. That's moving forward. Right here's our Tech Reborn manual. But it talks right here. This is the grind, and then goes to the miner's nightmare, which of course is coal dust. Ouch. This wants us to accept that. We get access to some tools that we can make. Also, it tells us how to automate these machines, but we're already very familiar with how to automate them because the machines are going to work just like all of the storage units that we've already been using throughout. So this is really going to continue that same sort of process. Now, all these require basic machine frames. Now, I only have 2 of them at the moment, and I don't know if it's best to just automate them. It does seem like this wouldn't be a bad thing to get automated, but we also find them while exploring. Now, this is going to be very similar to all the other automations I've done for making these basic machine frames. We're going to be sending it in. We have the molten silver that's going to be produced here. Molten silver then gets produced, gets piped over into this, and then this is going to need, the deployer is actually going to need, let's see, what was it, rubber? So I need to feed the rubber. That's going to be the hard part. Everything else is pretty much the same as everything else. Now, doing that is actually not as bad as I was originally anticipating. So, to do this, we should be able to just grab and place down a belt line. And, of course, using the crude storage yet again for this, we should be able to connect this here. And then just use a crude storage to get the items pulled off the belt and into this. So we'll end up piping. This will have a crude storage that goes on top of it. And then this will get pulled out. Actually, we can probably just leave this crude storage right where it's at. And we'll just use this as a pipe, basically. So this can actually send the items directly under the belt flat like this as well, saving some space. Which will be very, very helpful down the road. So yeah, we'll just have to tell this to input onto the side, auto output onto the side, I should say. This is going to be inputting and pulling from the side of the belt, and then the output side is going to be the back, and make sure that is also orange. And yeah, that should pull off the belt. Same on this. We are going to have to specify, hey, we need to send the items out onto the back. And that's really it for this. Now, of course, I'm going to have this turned off for now so I can get the filter placed in and make sure to lock it so we have an indicator of what goes in here. So with all the power hooked up, we should have the ability to now get this crafted up. So I just need, what was it? Copper casings, I believe, in order to make this. So let's open this up. Yep, copper casings. I think I just put all of them in my storage. But we should be able to dump them in. Copper. Let's grab those. And now we can get them processed over here, and then we can get them processed right here. So put one in, and that should now run through and do its processes. Oh, and it's not done yet, but notice this right here is pulling out. It was not filtered, but I guess now we can actually filter it. Surprisingly, it worked without it needing filtered. I'm a little taken away by that, but we filtered it just in case, and now it's working and ready to go. So we have our copper powered. We have this now powered, carried over. This is a little messy as far as where all the power locations are, but it's getting the job done, which is what I wanted. So I'm starting the process of actually crafting up all of these different things. So this is the extractor. Looks like I'm going to need some tree taps, 4 of them. And so this really gets us into Tech Reborn, which I believe is, if I remember correctly, Tech Reborn is like an IC2 mod. Like it basically is IC2. But there we go. So last but not least, oh, did I just make that? Oh yeah, that's right. The wire mill requires the extractor. We're going to have to make more of those. Oh boy. There we go. And craft up the last one. I'm running out of materials. All right. So we have an extractor, wire mill, and grinder. Now, what exactly does all these machines do? Well, the crusher, of course, the grinder is pretty, makes a lot of sense. It just crushes things. The wire mill makes wires more effectively. So I think we can pull away from here and actually look, and you can see that if we feed it 2 sheets, we get 6 copper wire now instead of what we were getting before. And I think we can utilize this in a different manner, like than what we're doing over here, but we'll have to wait and see how this is going to go. I'm still going to leave those up for now, but over here, I want to try and get this set up and powered. Get these machines up and running. So like, for example, a grinder, I can put the grinder right here, and let's just assume we have an input and output on the sides, like an inventory here and inventory here. And the same thing is going to take place on this as we go down. So the wire mill, all of this stuff is going to be set up in that manner, but I can place these vertically. So I'm thinking I'm going to place them on top of each other. If I can get up here. There we go. So yeah, we have all of our machines. Now they're lacking power and upgrades. Upgrades not as worried about as I am power. We've got to get this power up and running. So I need to make myself another alternator, and hopefully it doesn't take up too much stress units. I don't know how many stress units it actually consumes. This is using 8,000 stress units at its current speed just to produce 15, what is it, SU a tick? Is it FE a tick? So that's going to be interesting. So now I've made the alternator, and there are other methods of generating power. I'm pretty sure Tech Reborn has its own methods of generating power, which we need to get into eventually. But for right now, I'm just going to try and use the alternator and set up an accumulator. Now, this is going to require our craft here. So we are going to need all of these resources prepped up and ready to go. Because these are crafted inside the mechanical crafter. So let's get this crafted up. All right, so I have all the materials now ready to go, and this is going to be our battery. Now, how do I line this up so that it works? Okay, so we're going to be crafting this in the middle section, just like this. So the brass needs to go right here, brass sheets, and then I believe this was all of the capacitors on the side. Gold in the middle. The battery cell, I don't remember. Battery cell was in the middle, and then the connectors on the top. And now that we're ready, I just hit the button. And there we go. Perfect. We have an accumulator. Okay, so with the accumulator set up, I think back here might be a good spot if I place the alternator down. The alternator is doing its thing. We're just going to need to get our power hooked up. And so directly back here, I'm going to place this, and we're going to hook the wires in. Let me go get the connectors. So moment of truth, how much is this powering? Okay, so this is generating 15. So I place this here, I connect this to this, and now this is going to store 40,000, it looks like. And then this is where I have the connectors running on this. So we'll connect this here, this to here, and this to here. And then hopefully this is now filled up. Look at that. It's all ready to go. Now, inside the UI of the machine, it's going to be the same thing that we've done before. So I believe we click the spots to configure, for example, the grinder here. We want the auto input and output to be set up. So this will be the input and an auto input on this side. And it looks like we also configure this and then auto output over here in orange. So this should now pull the items in directly from the left side, process them, and then spit the product out onto the right side. And it's going to be the same for all the other machines. Now, of course, one of the best ways to test this is by, let's go ahead and I guess use the wire mill, right? So we need to feed this shit to the sheets. It's going to then take them, and it's going to be a little bit more efficient, but I'm not going to say it's going to be as fast without upgrades. It is pretty slow on its own, unfortunately. But we're going to be getting into a ton of these machines, especially for getting fuel for our rocket. This is going to be one of the next steps we have to take. Now there's the compressor right here. And this is what we're going to need, it looks like, to make these desh plates. So if you take a look at this, this is going to be one of the more important machines. It's going to be used to compress these balls into biomass. And yeah, it looks like it does make a bunch of the sheets. And specifically desh, because I don't think you can make desh in any other machine like these desh plates. Now, quick tip, if you want to just get your machine, don't break it with your pick. Use your wrench. That's a lot easier to handle. And there you go. We have that done. Now, I'm going to break this slot because I'm going to actually put a compressor up there. I believe we should be able to make ourselves a compressor. And this is going to be useful for more than just this. Because it is actually required, like I said, down the road of the biofuel line. So I now have the compressor, and I will definitely get this bad boy hooked up. Everything is going to be pretty slow on this, like I said early on. later on the upgrades, but of course the upgrades are going to cost more power as well. Now, one other machine I'm going to need is the Tesla Coil. And this is kind of an interesting machine. I've not used this before, so this will be a very interesting thing. But apparently we place it on top. It works just like any other machine. We can use it on a belt or what have you, but it needs to be powered, and it basically converts things electrically. It could be used to charge, but in this pack apparently it doesn't charge things. But for example, a bucket here, right? We can charge a bucket of desh into a bucket of Electrum. We can turn the synthetic redstone crystals and so on into redstone dust, and it does charge Certus quartz for us as well. This feels like this is going to be a pretty common recurring theme as far as a automation tool. We're going to have to use this for a lot of recipes to come, especially Electrum buckets. Apparently, this is a thing we're going to have to do, and the automation for this, I think, is going to be a little bit more complicated. Now, for this, I'm going to need very similar automation to what is actually going on over here. So we have the seared melter. We're going to be smelting desh, right? And then this then needs to pass over the belt. So what we can do is we can send it a bucket, and that's going to be our input. Then with the desh then gets bucketed, and then it gets converted right next to it on the same belt line, and then gets put into the storage. And that'll be a very simple process. We just give it a bucket and it produces our fluid. Now, there's other ways you can make this as well. You can make it by doing silver and gold as well if you do have an unlimited amount of those. But we can just convert desh, and I think this would be kind of cool to be able to utilize some of this power. So I pretty much have the same setup going that we used over here, right? These are all similar. The only thing different is I'm using desh in here, and then we have our coil over the belt. This works like every other machine in Create. We're giving it power. I have a filter set up so it only will get the bucket. You can drag that in, the bucket of Electrum as it's processed. And so we should be able to send a bucket in, and there it went. It got converted. Okay. Now it ended up going back through, which is fine. That actually gives me some peace of mind. But there we go. We have a bucket of molten Electrum. And we should be able to take this bucket of molten Electrum, and let's see. Let's go ahead and get the rest of this out of here. I think we can just click buckets onto this if I remember correctly. Is this just making gold bars? Oh my gosh. Okay, can we click this on here? Yes, okay. So that makes it a little bit easier because I can then use my ingot cast to be able to get this into an ingot form. And just like that, we have ourselves some Electrum ingots. Perfect. Now, the reason we need these is we actually need the nuggets. So we're going to need the nuggets for making the navigational systems. So this is going to use that redstone chip that I had, right? And then the navigation mechanism. This is then going to be used to make the NASA Workbench. So to produce this, it's very simple. We need molten cobalt, the nugget, and we need the press. Now, I don't think we're going to have to automate this. But we are going to need these things spouted. And I think we just need one, right? This is only used... Well, it's used for energizers, actually. So we might want to hold off. It's also used for elytra. Well, I guess we can go ahead and set it up real quick. It's going to be the exact same process as this. So now with the same setup that I did for this one right here, it's literally identical, except it just has a different item going in. This should be just about ready to go, right? This is feeding out though. I don't know why this is continuing to place down. This one does not continue to place down. The items for some reason are not going into this, even though it should. I'm pretty sure I set this machine up properly. Let's configure the sides. I might have to copy and paste. So I've just been, copying and pasting from this machine over here. So I can copy the input output on this one, and I should be able to paste that into this, and it should be able to pull off this belt. I don't know why it's not. It is not pulling off the belt. So in over here, I guess it's not accepting my, it's not accepting my sides. So there we go. We have in, and then I guess the out actually configured, but for some reason the input didn't. I hope that's not the same for everything else. But I have everything all set up, and so we should be able to send it through. I don't know how many times this takes. 30 times. So we need 30 nuggets worth of Electrum and quite a bit of cobalt to get this one navigational mechanism done. So now it's better time than ever, right, to get this started. Let's go ahead and fill that whole thing with that, with the nuggets. That's more than 30 that's going in there already. And if we put this through, this should start processing. Oh, wait. It's actually going to end up right here, right? Because it's waiting for this, because I didn't flip the switch. Okay, so that is flipped. We should see that rolling through. And it has to do this process 30 times. Yep. But when it's done, I have it filtered. Once it's done, we'll actually be able to craft the NASA Workbench. That didn't take very long at all. And navigational mechanism now done. Navigation systems check. So we are a go. We just need to actually get the bench set up, and then we'll know what all we need for a rocket. Let's see if we can't craft that bench. So after grabbing my desh plates, there we are. There we go. the fabled desh. Oh boy, oh my goodness. So we have this ready to go. NASA Workbench, and this has to be crafted inside of our crafter over here. Thankfully it is just it's a normal size craft. So this goes right in the middle. I believe these two are up here. Oh, that's going to be... Do we shift? How do we get these? Do we have to hopper these in because they select? Oh my gosh. We're going to have to hopper them in for now, I guess. So hoppers. That's interesting. Yeah, because these being used in a recipe makes it a little bit harder to do that. So yeah, that needs to be hoppered in. Little janky there. But we're getting it done. And then last but not least, display board, which will go right on the top here. Display board. We only need one of those. Then the plates. And then the blocks, right? The last little bit. All right. So blocks go on the bottom. These go here. And then the capacitors go here. And there we go. Ready to go. Ad Astra. So now we have the ability to craft ourselves a spaceship, or at least we have the ability to craft it with this beautiful thing. And so this is how we're actually going to craft our ship, which is going to be right here, which is going to require all of these materials, including desh and all of that good stuff, a bunch of sturdy sheets and all of that, which we're going to have to work on next episode, because today we are all out of time. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Of course, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. And check out the Discord, discord.gg/ChosenArchitect. Guys, I really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And let me give a huge shout out to the supporter of today's video. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Hetchins. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member. And guys, I really do appreciate you. Appreciate all my supporters as well, because they're absolutely fantastic. It's what keeps this channel up and rolling during times like this. So I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. And of course, guys, as always, thanks for watching.